before moving to the next topic, JSP, uh, we have to discuss one more thing here for the previous example, right? Once you submit this form from the front end, right? Front end, once you submit this form, how the server, in our case, the Tomcat server will find out what is the target servlet. What is the target servlet should be execute for your request. How our Tomcat will find out what is the target servlet, right? At that time, we have to talk about the web.xml file. We call this one as deployment descriptor, right? Once you submit as a client, once you submit a request to the from the server, right? Inside the server side, using this deployment descriptor or web.xml file, it will map your requested URL with the target servlet, right? Then execute the target servlet. But in this case, we have separate file, right? We have separate file, web.xml file. We call this one as deployment descriptor I mentioned earlier, right? Instead of using a separate file, web.xml file, we can use annotations. We can use annotations to map the requested URL with the target servlet. Let's see how we can do this one. First of all, I will remove this part from here, from web.xml file, and save all my changes and restart my server. And let's see what will happen if I make a request from my front end, right? Yes, I is still restarting. Right. Refresh this one and add some numbers here. And once I submit this one, it will show an error. 404. It means resource not found, right? Definitely, it should be happen because once you submit your form, it will go to the web.xml file, and then there is nothing, right? There is nothing to map your request to the specific server. Then server cannot find out what is the or server cannot find out the target resource. That is the reason why it will return 404 error, page not found error. Then let's try to add some annotations for this one, or at servlet and at more servlet, right? Before starting the class for this servlet, we can say at web servlet. Within brackets, we can pass the URL. In this case, URL is add, right? You have to import the relevant libraries here, right? This is the annotation for this class. Same as I can do the same thing for this one as well. At web servlet, then this is the URL mapping for this one, add more. Here also I have to import the libraries, right? Okay. Now what happened here is our Tomcat server can find out, or our Tomcat server will map this URL with this servlet, this URL pattern with this servlet, right? Let's again, let's try to restart the server, and let's try to see what will happen once I submit my form. Okay, the server is started. Then go back and refresh and add some two numbers here. Then we can get this result same as before, right? Actually, what happened here is once you submit this one, it will send a get request, right, with this URL add, right? Then our Tomcat server can map our request to this servlet because we are mapping this servlet with this URL pattern, right? Then it's execute this one. And after that, it will redirect it in here. It will redirect it, and your URL is changed to add more. Then again, Tomcat server can identify or map this request with this servlet because we are add some annotations for this one, then execute the rest of our code, and we can see the result on our browser, right? That is the thing happening when we using annotations, right? We can use annotations instead of using XML file, instead of using a XML file, right? We can use both scenarios, but this one is much easier, right? Here we have to maintain a separate file to map our URLs, but in this case, just we can add a simple code line to map our URL. We call this one as annotations. Okay, then we can move to the next part, next topic of this discussion, JSP. As you already know, this is a do get method, and we can implement one more type of method, do post method, right? In this form, input form, we have specified the method to get. If this method is get, only this get method, do get method will be executed. If I change this one to post, if I change this one to post, only post method will be executed, this one, right? There is a one more method in HTTP servlet. HTTP servlet, so it will be extends to the to our class by extending HTTP servlet. That is a service method, right? Public void service method. The name of this method is already reserved, right? You have to use this name in this way. You can't change this one. It also taking two parameters, HTTP request parameter and HTTP response parameter, right? Then the advantage of using this one is if this method inside this submit form method, if this method is post or get, both times this method will be execute, service method will be execute. Let's see is it happening or not. Let me try to add some print statement here. Instead of using complex code, I will copy and paste this print statement here, and I can say uh, this is from service method, right? And I will remove this thing, right? And comment out the entire things from this page, right? Actually, what happened here is, right, cross declaration, right? Actually, what happened here is once you submit this form, if the method is post or not post or get method, this service method will be executed from the server side. Let's save these changes and see what will be the output. I will restart my server. Okay, then I can run this HTML file on Tomcat server. I'll just copy this URL here from here and paste it here. Okay, Then I can enter two numbers. Actually, these two numbers are no need for this example, but we have to add null a number in this input field. That is the reason why I include two numbers. Then I submit this one. I can see a message. This is from service method, right? This output is coming from this servlet, right? This servlet, the method is post, right? If I change this one to get method and save this one and go back to my browser and go to the previous page and refresh, then I can include import two numbers and submit. I can get the same result again, right? Then if I remove not specify the method here and submit this one again, I can get the same result. The importance of this service method is if the method is get or post, it is not considered the method type from the front end form submission. This service method will be execute. That is the that is the usage of service method, right? In this do get method or do post method will be execute depending on the method of this submit form, right? That is the story of service method. Okay, I will just remove this thing here because we are no need service method for our examples. Then I will uncomment, remove the comments for our do get method and add a method type here as add. So get method, right? Okay, then we can move to the next topic, which is what? JSP, right? Okay, I will just remove all the things and save my changes and still starting. And go back to my form, input form, and add two numbers, submit, I can get the previous result, right? But if I if I check the page source, right click on this page and view page source, as you can see, there is a only plain text available here. Only plain text available here. But if it is a commercial website, let's say our faculty website, then if I see the page source here, you can see there are a bunch of HTML tags available, right? There are a bunch of HTML tags available, and using this HTML tag, we can decorate our content on the client side web page, right? But in this case, there's only plain text here. We can't add background color. We can't change the font style. We can't change the font size because those all the things are plain text. Then let's try to add some HTML here, right? If you want to add some background, let's say background font sizes, H1 tags, H2 tags, P tags, you have to use HTML here, right? But we are now in servlets. Servlets are mainly focusing on Java coding, right? Then we are going to add or we are going to import some HTML tags in between Java coding, right? Let's try to do this thing, right? These are the things, these are the content that we are going to render to the client side, or we are going to send to the client side as a response. With this response, we can pass some HTML tags here using outer println statement. Println, we can pass some HTML tags as well, right? First of all, we have to specify the We have to start HTML tag. Then we can say head. Inside the head, we have a title tag. Title tag in closing title tag. Then we can give a name for this one. CSC 310.3. Yes, right. We can close the head tag here. Then this content will be go to the body of my web XML file, right? Sorry, this part will go to the body of my HTML page. Therefore, I can start or open a body tag here, right? Then this will be go to the go inside the body tag. After that statement, I can say out.println. Then we can close this body tag, and also we can close HTML tag here, right? Then I will save this thing and restart my server, right? So automatically restarting. Then go back to my website and refresh. Then I can insert two numbers here. Then I can submit this one. Then if I see the page source, you can see there are some HTML tags available here, and also the title is added to this tab, right? This tab title is coming from this title tag, right? Then let's try to add some background color here as well. Background bg color is a property of body tag, right? We can say bg color equals let's say green. There are some error here. All right, this is Java code, right? Then if I go back to my interface and refresh, you can see the things are added, the changes are added to the uh, front end, to the HTML page, right? Then if I change these tags to the h1 tag, I mean I'm going to wrap this output content in between two h tags, h1 tags. Open h1 tag and place my content, then close in h1 tag. Save the content and go back to my interface and refresh. I think still the service restarting. Okay, then go back to my page and submit. You can see that text size is increased. This text size is based on the join tag. If I see the page source, you can see all the tags are available with these properties, right? But if assume you are going to build up a page something like this, then you have a bunch of HTML tags here, thousands of HTML tags here. But if you import this amount of HTML tags with this scenario, it is bit harder, right? You can feel if you are import thousands of HTML tags inside out.println statements or something, it is impossible. It is harder to add some thing in between a Java code, right? If the main case is HTML tags or HTML files are not showing any error in HTML, but it is very harder to find HTML and HTML errors and correct them if you are add this HTML inside the Java code. For solution for that, we have a specific thing in servlet in Java. We call it as a JSP. JSP. Using JSP, we are going to add Java code inside an HTML file, inside a HTML file, right? We are moving to the next topic, JSP, right? JSP stands for Java Server Pages. JSP stands for Java Server Pages. Actually, in here, we are going to add some Java code inside HTML tags, right? Actually, JSP file is a HTML file. Then we are going to add some Java code in between HTML tags. It is also a server-side technology is used to creating some web applications, right? Then we can add some Java JSP tags inside HTML or XML or both, right? Then JSP has various features like JSP expressions, tags, JSP expression language, and so on. The advantage of using servlet is it is very easy to maintain, right? As you can see, if you add some HTML tags inside Java code, it is very harder to maintain, right? If you have thousands of HTML tags and if you want to change something, update something on your browser, on your application, it is very harder to find out the tags, right? But in this case, it is very easy to maintain. Then no need to recompile or deployment is required. Once JSP file is compiled and deployed and already stored inside the server, it is no need to execute again and again uh, before sending to the client side. It is and less coding is required. See, this is a very simple example, right? But see the number of code lines, right? We have to extend something, we have to extend some external resources, we have to import libraries, we have to give a name for the servlets, then we have to specify the objects, we have process, right? Exception handlings. Here also we have to specify the cookies, we have to create the object here. Then again, we have to pass the required object here. Error handling exceptions. There are a bunch of codes available, but when we use JSP, it is very easy to code, right? Then JSP are extended version of servlets. There are some connection in between JSP and servlet. We will discuss these things later on, right? Uh, okay, we can move forward. Then when we consider JSP architecture, inside the web server, we have a JSP engine, right? Inside the web server, we have a JSP engine. As a client, we can request the JSP request. Then there is a JSP engine inside the server. The server will process on this requested JSP file, target JSP file. If the JSPs need some data from database, it can communicate with the database which is connected to the server. Then database will be respond the required data. Then again, JSP engine can process on this data and create a HTML page actually, right? Finally, this will create an HTML file, HTML response, and send it back to the client side, right? This is the architecture, JSP architecture. We called this one as three-tier architecture. There are three main components are integrated with this JSP architecture. That is the reason why we call this architecture is three-tier architecture. When we consider the life cycle of JSP, first we have a JSP file, right? Then this JSP file will translate to a servlet code, right? That is the reason why we learned servlet before starting the JSP topic. JSP file will be converted to a JSP, servlet file or a Java file, .java extension file automatically by the server, JSP engine, right? We no need to convert this one manually. JSP server will be automatically JSP engine will be automatically convert this JSP file to a servlet file. Then servlet file will be compiled to a class file. Then Java runtime environment will be executed via class file and creating servlet objects and create a dynamic content for the client, right? Then send to the client side. This is the life cycle of JSP. The important thing is once a client is requested some JSP file, JSP content, it will convert to the servlet by using JSP engine from the server side. Then this Java file will be compiled to a class file. Then Java runtime environment will execute your Java file or the class file and creating some dynamic content and send it to the client side, right? And the important of this one is no recompilation or redeployment is required. What it means? Once you compile a specific JSP file to a servlet file, after that, how many client requested are coming, it is not considered the number of requests are coming from client side to server side. The compiled version or the class file will be used in for after that it is one compiled to a class file, right? Then there are some JSP elements, expressions, scriptlets, retrieves, and declarations. We will discuss this one by using an example, right? Let's try to build up a simple or let's try to convert this code, this content to a JSP file, right? First of all, I would like to convert this one. Instead of working with two different servlets, I will go to convert this content to a JSP file, right? First of all, we have to create a JSP in our project. Just right click on our project and go to new, and we can select the JSP files. Then you can give any name for a JSP file. In this case, I'm going to give a name as add.jsp, right? Add.jsp. Then we can create a JSP file. You can see the JSP file is stored inside the source under web pages, and we can say see add.jsp file is created, and this is the basic add.jsp file. This is already HTML file, right? The content is HTML. We can add some code here, Java code here, right? For example, let's try to remove, change this title, CSV 323, JSP session. Then add some properties here as well. That BG color, we are going to change the background color here to green. Let's put blue. So different color, blue. Then we can place our Java code here in between HTML tag. We can place Java code. Just copy this content and paste it here. Right? Very simple. Paste it here. Right? Then we can say, yeah, I'll just copy this content from here. Out statement. Out not result should be sum, right? In this case, we are going to calculate the two numbers which are coming from the client side and add two numbers and display the final result, right? But if I run this one, this text will be considered as some plain text. Let's see. Then URL should be add.jsp. Previous case, we are targeting a servlet, right? Therefore, we have to give the URL mapping. In this case, we can say directly the target JSP file at .jsp file. We are targeting at .jsp file, right? Then I will save my changes, right? Then go to my browser, go back, then refresh, then insert two numbers. Once I submit this one, all right. The content is rendered to this one, but the background color is changed. It is okay because we are adding some content, we are adding some properties to the background tags. That is the reason why it will show the output something like this. But this Java code is considered as a plain text here, right? In the here, it is not converting it to a result. It is not converting to a servlet. Just consider this text as a plain text. Then how can we convert? How can we say this is the Java code, this is HTML tag? How can we separate this? We can do, we can separate this Java code with HTML tags using JSP tags, right? JSP elements. Here I have mentioned there are three types of JSP elements here. It's expressions, scriptlets, directives, and declarations. Under these four categories, we can use scriptlets here, right? We can use scriptlet tags, scriptlets element. Just we can say forward, sorry, greater than sign percentage mark. In between this delimiters, we can place our Java code. Inside this delimiter, we can place our Java code, right? Then we have to give the complete name for request object. I will explain what is the reason for this one, right? Request or get parameter. It will take the parameter number one, number two, and get the data coming from the client side and store inside these two different variables. Then calculate the sum and finally send the result to the front end, to the client side. I'll just save this one and go back to browser and refresh. Then insert two numbers here, 34 and 56, then submit. You can see we can get the result here. Now this one will consider as some Java code here, right? See, there are so many text here. We have to do lots of things here. We have to import HTTP servlet. We have to import required libraries. We have to give a name for the function. Then we have to create some object here, the print write object here, right? Instead of using too much work, we can simply use JSP here. This is the only Java code we require, right? Then we can get the result. Then if you want to wrap this output with some H1 tags, we can place these things in between some H tags, right? Right. We are placing Java in between HTML, right? That is the only thing happening here, right? Then if I change this one and save and go back, then refresh, you can see the content or the formatting is added to the plain text. Then if I see the page source, you can see there are some HTML tags available here, right? Instead of placing this uh, coding, we can see only result is available in the final HTML file, right? Actually, what happened here, this is a very good example. See, uh, we have a JSP file, we have a JSP file, but finally it is converted to a HTML response, right? This is the client side. This JSP engine, the server will send to the client side just only a HTML file instead of this code content, right? Here, the architecture is correct, right? We are requesting JSP file. Here we are requesting JSP file, add.jsp file. Inside the server side, inside the web server, JSP file, JSP engine will be converted to your JSP file to a servlet file, then perform some operation and come up with the final result, then converted it to a HTML file and send it back to the client side. That is the reason why you can see there's only a HTML file available in the client side, right? That is the story of JSP. Then there are three more different types of JSP elements: expressions, scriptlets, and directives, declarations. So we will discuss these things next, right? First of all, let's try to convert. Let's see how the server will convert our JSP file to a servlet file, right? I will take this one as the example, right? This one. This is the Java code, right? This Java code is available in between two scriptlets, right? I will place my code from in left side, and I will use this space to uh, build the relevant servlet file, right? Okay. As in traditional way, if you are directly using Java servlets, first of all, you have to create a class, right? Then you have to give a name for the class. Then you have to import required libraries. Then you have to extend your servlet with HTTP servlet. Then you have to implement the method, service method or do get method or do post method, right? But in here, just you are implementing some few code lines, right? In the server side or Java JSP engine will convert your JSP file to a servlet file. Let's see. What is the name of my JSP file? It is add.jsp, right? Actually, what happened here is uh, JSP engine will be automatically convert your JSP file to a servlet. The servlet name should be add_JSP, right? It automatically convert public class. The name should be add_JSP. This is the name of your servlet class, right? Then it will be automatically extends HTTP servlet, right? To automatically converted HTTP servlet, then implement the service method here, public void service, and pass or given the required parameters. That is the reason why we have to use the complete name here, because the JSP server will be automatically created this object with the specified name, request name, complete name, right? That object we are using the created object by the server side. Server side will be automatically building this object with this name. That is the reason why we have to use the correct name here, right? Then specify the service method. After that, we have some we have some created variables here. This variable will be created inside the service method. Then using out object, we can pass this content to the server side, sorry, client side, right? It will automatically create this out object inside the server service method, right? And generated a HTML file and send it back to the client side, right? That is the thing happening inside the server side, right? Inside the JSP engine. But I mentioned earlier there are four types of HTML, sorry, JSP elements here. Scriptlets. If you are using a scriptlet, the content is go inside to the service method, right? It is the Java code required for or place inside the service method. Then we have another JSP element. We call it as expressions. Expressions. If you are send something, if you are send, or if you are hoping to send from server side to client side, you have to use expression tags, right? Then directive tags. If you are importing some external libraries, in here also we are importing some libraries. Java IO, Java IO library, IO exception, right? In here we are import some other libraries as well. Here, Java servlet, Java HTTP session library, cookies library, annotation web servlet library. There are a bunch of libraries are using here. If you want to import some libraries from a JSP file, you have to use directive elements, right? Then declaration elements. If you want to declare a variable outside the service method, but inside the class, we have to use uh, declaration tags, right? Declaration tags. Let's try to understand these things. This is a scriptlet tag. This content is go to where? This content is go to the service method. Go inside to the service method. This is the service method or do get method or do post method, right? There are two parameters here. This is the service method, public void service, right? Then this is the class add public class add JSP extends HTTP servlets, right? This is the class. Then this, if you are using scriptlets, something like this one will be go inside to the service method. This variable and other things will be created inside the integer something, int j equals integer something, and integer sum equals I plus j. Then out.println statement is also go inside to the service method, but because we are using scriptlets here, right? Then if you are use some let's say expressions, we can use expressions in this way, right? / percentage mark equal sign. If you use equal sign, this means this is an expression. Then we can simply pass some strings here. Hello, this is from expression element, right? This is how we can use expression tags in JSP, right? These things are also going side to this service method. this thing. Hello, this is from something, right? These expressions are also placed inside the service method. Then let's see how, if you want to create a variable from outside this service method, but inside this class. Let's say int test variable. Test variable. Then if you want to create some variable here, uh, you can use this method, or you can use the specific JSP elements. We called them as declarations, right? Declarations, greater than sign, percentage mark, and not sign, exclamation mark. Then we can close this tag here. Then inside this declaration elements, we can place our variable, test variable, right? This variable will be created from outside the service method or do get method or do post method, but inside the class method, inside the class, right? Then in this scenario, we are importing bunch of libraries here. Let's say the session library, yeah, this one, HTTP session library. We want to import some libraries. When we are working with JSP, we can use a specific a JSP tag. We call them as the directive, right? We call them as directive tags, directive elements, right? Uh, we can say greater than sign, percentage mark, at sign. This is a directive tag, right? Then if you want to import some library, you can use the page word. Then we can say import equals, within quotation, we can give any name here. Let's say uh, this library. We just copy this one and paste here. If you have more than one library here, you can put a comma and place another library name. Let's say this one. You can place the library here by adding a comma in between two different libraries, right? If you have more than more and more libraries to be imported to your program, your JSP file, you can add more and more comma and add your content, right? This is the this content. These libraries will go to this place. Outside the servlet class, right? These imported libraries will be go to the outside of the imported class, servlet class, right? Then go to beginning and let's see again the four different HTML JSP elements. First one is scriptlets. Scriptlets are the things we are using place our Java code. These scriptlets are mapped into the service method. Inside the service method, the content of these scriptlets are placed inside the service method. Then expressions. If you want to add some string value or some result here, you can use this expression stack. Expression stack. These expression stacks are also placed inside the service method. Then we have some other tags, declaration tags. If you want to add some global variables, if you want to create a variable from outside the service method, but inside the class, we can use declaration elements, something like this. And if you want to import some external libraries to your program, you can use the directive text. This is the directive text, right? Then one more thing, one more important thing, there are some three different there are sub types of JSP directive tags. We have first one is we'll open a notepad. Okay, we'll use this space. There are three different types of uh, what directive tags, right? First one is add page. If you want to add some external library, you can use add page. Then if you want to add some JSP file, if you want to include some external JSP file, other JSP file, if you want to import some external previously created JSP file, you can use include, add include here, add include here. Then if you want to add some, import some external tags, user defined tags, you can use tag live, tag live, add style, tag live, right? There are some attributes available in page. Then if you want to specify the language, you can use the language attribute here. Then you can specify the scripting language here. As you can see, there are some scripting languages available here, already automatically imported here. See, this is the directive tag. Then this is the attribute, the directive tag element, right? Then this is the attribute. Then this is the value, right? Language is an attribute. Then the content type is also an attribute. Then this is the value. Then this one, page encoding is an attribute, and this is the value. We can import, we can add some attributes with their value inside the directive tags, right? These are the different attributes of page directive, right? Next one is extends. If you want to extend some external or separate file, separate class, Java class, you can use extends attribute. Then you can specify the class name here, class name, right? Then import. If you want to import some external package to your program, you can use import attribute. Import package list. You can pass import package list, right? Then if you are maintaining a session using this JSP file, you can pass, you can use this session attribute. Then you can specify if it is a session, you can use, you can pass the true. If not, it is by default false, right? If you are not using session attribute, it is getting by default false. But if you are specify the session attribute as true, it will consider your JSP file as a session manage HTTP session file, right? Then if your page is an error page, or your JSP file is targeting to render to send once your system getting some error. Let's say if you are validating some user input, the user is accidentally import some invalid data fields to the submitted form. Then you want to execute your JSP file if only the clients have make some error, make some mistakes on their submission, uh, you can specify this file is an error page. Then if you can say, if you can uh, add the error page URL here, error page URL here, right? Then if the page is an error page, you can use is error page attribute. By default, it is getting false, but if you specify this attribute, you have to pass true here for using to use or convert your JSP file as an error page. By default, it is false, right? If you want to specify it is a error page, you can use if error page attribute. Right, these are some important attributes. There are so many attributes in page directive, right? These are some important attributes in error page directive. There are some other things. Page encoding is also an attribute of page directive. Content type, right? Language. These are some basic or the important uh, page attributes. Then if you are including some external file, you can do it in this way. Greater than sign, percentage mark, at sign. Now this is a uh, this is a uh, directive, right? Then we can use the include word here. Then we can specify the external file here, file path to file, external file, right? This is the way how you can include an external file to your JSP file using include directive. Then tag, if you want to import some user-defined tags here, you can use tag directive, right? Again, forward slash, sorry, greater than sign, percentage mark, at sign, then you can give tag view. Then using URI property, you can specify the URI and you can give a prefix. You will give any prefix name, right? Then the external set of tags you have, let's say ABC tag. This is a the user-defined tag, but the browser can't understand. This is a user-defined tag, right? Then you can give a prefix for this one, right? Then this ABC tag will be belongs to this prefix, fx prefix, right? If you pass something like this tag will be considered as fx tags, right? Fx prefix tags, right? Then these properties of these tags will be included to your program. If you are not specifying these tags here, the browser can't understand this is a user-defined tags and browser can't import the user-defined properties for these tags, right? These are the three main types of directive tags. Page tag, if you want to add some external library, you can use page directive. If you want to include or import some external library, sorry, external file, you can use include tag here, include directive. If you want to import some user-defined tags, you can use tag lib directive. These are the three main types of directives in JSP, right? With all the directives are go to the front outside of class, servlet class, when we are converting this JSP to a servlet class. This is done by automatically done by the JSP engine, right? We need to manually convert this JSP to servlet class, right? It is done by the server side or JSP engine, right? This is the thing that we have to cover under JSP, right? There are a bunch of important things. Let's go one by one again, right? Uh, why we are using JSP in server side? The main thing is it is harder to add some HTML tags in between Java code. For the solution for that one, we can use JSP. In JSP, what we are doing is we are adding some Java code in between HTML, right? Because in web development, we are mainly focusing on the final view, final output, right? The colors, font sizes, some shapes, right? We are mainly focusing on the final output, right? Then we can place our Java code in between HTML using JSP. That's the main important thing, right? Uh, then if you are targeting some JSP file, we can give the JSP, add to JSP directly without giving any mapping here, without giving any map, URL mapping, we can directly specify the JSP, the target JSP file. Then we can use scriptlets tags to place our Java code, right? We can use scriptlet tags to place our Java code. Uh, this Java code will be stored. We will be go inside the service method or do get method or do post method when once you are converting this JSP to servlet class. Then there are more than one JSP element. This element will be considered as some expressions, right? If you want to send some expressions to server side, from server side to client side, you can use expressions JSP tags, right? These tags also place inside the service method. Then if you want to create some global variables, you can use declaration JSP tags, right? This is the declaration tag. This one will be mapped in from outside the service method, but inside the class, servlet class. Then we have one more type of JSP elements. We call it as directives, right? Directives. These directives we can use to import libraries, we can use to import JSP files, we can use to import some external tags as well. These all the directives are placed from outside the class, right? Then there are three main types of directives. First one is page directive. We want to add some library, import some library, you can use page. Then if you want to import some external JSP file to your JSP file, you can use include directive. Then if you are hoping to import some user-defined tags, external tags to your JSP file, you can use tag library, tag lib directive. Okay, these are the main important thing. We have to know about JSP, right? Okay, I will stop this point. We can continue the rest by next session.